mysterious, intriguing, and often illuminating. These are worldwide folklore tales. Accounts of food-sharing fairies date back centuries, if not thousands of years. It is believed in Ireland that if you taste a fairy's food in their palace in Fairyland, you will never return. You will become one of them. These beings, known as Gentrys to the Irish, never taste salt. They eat only fresh meat and drink only pure water. Many tales describe the Gentry as being of a military, aristocratic class, appearing tall and noble. They live by the sea, in the mountains, and are all very good neighbors. Considered kind yet powerful beings, if one does not disturb the Gentry, they will be shown kindness in return. For the Gentry could easily overtake a human and prefer not to be provoked. While gathering folk tales for his 1909 thesis on Celtic traditions in Brittany, American anthropologist Walter Evans Wentz interviewed an Irishman who supposedly had an experience with one of the Gentry. Not long after the famine of 1846 to 1847, Mr. Patrick Feeney was visited one day by a little woman asking for some oatmeal. Mr. Feeney had barely any supplies left and was ashamed to give the woman so little, so he offered her potatoes instead. The woman insisted on oatmeal, so Mr. Feeney agreed to leave it in a basket outside for her as instructed, as she was to retrieve it later that night. Well, to Mr. Feeney's surprise, when he arose the next morning, the basket was overflowing with oatmeal. The little woman was a Gentry. Fast forward to the spring of 1961. A 60-year-old chicken farmer named Joe Simonton lived a quiet life alone in his small home in Eagle River, Wisconsin, USA. That is, until April 18th, when, at approximately 11 a.m., the farmer was alerted to a peculiar noise outside. Upon stepping out into his yard, Simonton was met with a silvery saucer-shaped object he said was brighter than chrome. It looked like two inverted bowls, about 12 feet high and 30 feet in diameter, with exhaust pipes 6 or 7 inches in diameter, all along its circumference. The shiny object appeared to be hovering close to the ground without ever touching it. Eventually, a hatch, about 6 feet high and 30 inches wide, opened about 5 feet up from the ground. That's when Simonton saw 3 men inside the object, standing roughly 5 feet tall. They were clean-shaven, with dark hair and olive skin, and wore outfits with turtleneck tops and helmets. The interior of the ship was black like wrought iron, and Simonton, who saw several instrument panels on board, heard a slow, whining sound. It reminded him of the humming sound of a generator. One of the men caught Simonton's attention by holding up a jug, presumably made of the same material as the saucer. He motioned for Simonton to fill it with water. Upon returning from the house, Simonton saw that one of the men inside the saucer was frying food on a flameless grill of some sort. When he silently indicated he was interested in the food being prepared, one of the men handed Simonton 3 flat, perforated wafer-like cakes, about 3 inches in diameter. The whole ordeal lasted about 5 minutes, and when the visitors were ready to leave, the man closest to Simonton attached a kind of belt to a hook in his clothing and closed the hatch. Once the object rose some 20 feet from the ground, it took off straight south, causing a powerful blast of air that bowed the nearby pine trees. The local sheriff, who had known Simonton for 14 years, affirmed that the witness obviously believed this was what truly happened, and talked very sensibly about the incident. According to Project Blue Book's Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who investigated this case, along with Major Robert Friend of the United States Air Force, Mr. Simonton undoubtedly felt his contact had been a real experience. The Air Force, on the other hand, believed that Joe Simonton had a sudden lucid dream. Since he lived alone, he must have inserted that fantasy into the real events happening during consciousness, with no one around to correct him. Needless to say, it was an unusual day when the United States Air Force requested the laboratory of the United States Department of Health, Education and Welfare conduct an analysis of a wheat cake that was supposedly cooked in a flying saucer and tasted like cardboard. The Air Force concluded the wafers were of terrestrial origin, consisting of hydrogenated fat, starch, buckwheat hulls, soybean hulls and wheat bran. Bacteria and radiation readings were normal, but they failed to mention that the wafers contained no traces of salt. This is curious, considering salt is a vital mineral to humans, and ancient legends of food-sharing beings also refer to saltless consumables. Depending on where you live in the world and which cultural traditions you hold, many would say the farmer's encounter was another recorded visit from the Gentry. Was Simonton trading pure water for saltless snacks? One must wonder what links these kinds of modern-day experiences with those of ancient folklore. Where could this mysterious food have come from? Was it really non-terrestrial or some food from Fairyland? Well now, that is for you to decide. Literally, it's food for thought. If you are enjoying our videos, please like and subscribe so that we can keep bringing you high-quality ad-free episodes. Interested in becoming a story contributor? Then drop us a line in the comments, or you can contact us directly at worldwidefolkloretales.com. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.